I think it's important for kids to know that adults aren't perfect. You send out 30 resumes, you get one call back, and you're working at a restaurant. That's a God thing. No, I'm the athletic director at Cutter. I'm the head boys basketball coach. I'm a bus driver if needed, part-time maintenance guy, sometime concession worker. Last Thursday, I was announcing junior high football. He hugged my neck and said, "Coach, I love you, and thank you for everything that you've done for me."
Wow.
Right there, I think the Holy Spirit said, "You just learned what it's all about." And we had lost in the semifinals, by the way, when this happened.
Yep.
You're chasing championships, and you're chasing trophies, and you're missing the boat. Trophies collect dust and go away. Men relationships don't.
Hi, everybody. This is Tom Wilkins with my special guest, Beau Brickell, over here. Beau, say hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, that's enough, Beau. Hey, we're going to be back in just a second and have a little conversation with our friend Beau over here. Okay, now we're into it. Actually, we're not into it. I'll say hi, Beau. Okay, we're back. Beau, how are you doing? It's been a long time since we talked.
Yeah.
About 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Man, I'm doing really well.
Well-
I really am. I'm blessed, and man, blessed to be here and
We're glad to
part
have
of
you.
a Tom Wilkins podcast.
Yeah, it's TomCast.
TomCast.
Yeah,
part of
don't mess
TomCast.
it up, man. It's gonna look bad. And you can like, you can constrive. No, that's not the word. You can comment. You can subscribe. You can do all kinds of free things. But we want to hear your comments about Beau here. And Beau, let's get into it. Where did you grow up?
Grew up right here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Born and raised. Actually grew up in a neighborhood close to where I live now, called Fairhood.
Okay.
Fairwood.
Fairwood.
Sorry.
Are you gonna say it was in the hood over there, huh?
No, Fairwood.
Okay, good.
Is the name of it, and so been fortunate enough, like I said, to call Hot Springs home for 40 years.
Wow. Okay, where'd you go to school?
Went to school at Lake Hamilton. 13-year graduate out there, and the only time I didn't live in Hot Springs is I went to Arkansas Tech University after high school for a year, and then I finished at the University of Arkansas Little Rock. So about a year in Russellville and about 4 years in Little Rock. But other than that, been right here.
Lake Hamilton, I'm sure you've heard of Adam Brown.
I have.
Yes.
Absolutely.
A dear friend of mine who's passed away now, Dick Antoine, and I raised a bunch of money to have an Adam Brown statue put down at the Veterans Memorial. And he quite a guy, quite a legacy. Larry Brown and Janice's wife are just good people. I don't know if you know them. You graduated from Lake Hamilton. My wife taught first grade out there.
Graduated there a long time ago now.
Yeah, a long time. You're getting old now.
I really am.
Okay.
The 10-year and the 20-year anniversaries have passed, and I think I'm pushing close to 25. I don't like to say that, but I am.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I wanted to be an Arkansas Razorback.
Really?
Just to be real honest with you. When you grow up in Arkansas, that's kind of the pinnacle, of a lot of kids' dreams is to be an Arkansas Razorback. So for as long as I can remember, that's what I wanted to be. Grew up playing sports, loved all sports.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, I kind of found myself enjoying helping others. Even when I was playing as a young kid, I enjoyed helping either my teammates or I remember working at camp as an older kid and getting involved with the younger kids there and really enjoying that part of it. And seeing maybe helping someone else give back maybe the knowledge that I had as far as the sport went and giving back to them. But so, it was be a Razorback, really above all else. Something in sports, and my dad, about the time I was in 9th grade, started a business here in town, very successful
Really?
one.
What kind?
Royal Windows and Siding.
Royal Windows. Wow, I've heard of that actually.
That's right. And so then, kind of thought maybe something in the business world.
Wow. But somehow sports really not didn't get out of your system, did it?
Never. I just loved it. I really did. I loved competition. I loved playing. I loved the camaraderie of a team.
Mhm.
And so, when I realized it wasn't going to be an Arkansas Razorback, and it was a Wonder Boy at Arkansas Tech and a Trojan at Arkansas Little Rock. Um, Actually, I'll go back a little bit. So my dad came to me. I was 21 years old, and at an Outback Steakhouse when they were really good,
Sure, sure. Yeah.
and came over to Little Rock and had dinner with me and said, I have a chance to sell my business, and if you want an opportunity to work with me and do that and build a business together, here's the opportunity, or I'm going to sell.
Wow.
And I'm 21 and pretty naive to the world. You know what we think about at 21.
Sure, sure.
And so in that meeting, I just told my dad that it wasn't my passion.
It wasn't your thing. That's
It
right.
wasn't my passion.
Yeah.
There were times along the way where I said, man, was that a mistake?
Sure.
And
We've all had those moments.
that's right. And but at 25, I decided to get into the world of coaching. And I'll be honest with you, this is year 16, and I've never went to
Oh.
work yet.
16. Now, have you always coached at Cutter?
No, I've had a pretty fun and interesting career. To be, well, just to kind of tell you the story of it. I was working at a restaurant here in town called Fisherman's Wharf. I already had a degree, and there was a girl there that I kind of liked.
There's always a girl.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And the first day she walked in the restaurant, I told a friend of mine, I said, I'm going to marry her. He
Really?
was like, well, that's a pretty bold thing to say, and you don't even know her. And I said, well, there's something about her.
Uh-huh.
And so we worked together for a couple of years. She knew I had a degree and said, why are you here? And I said, well, I mean, I got to have a job. And she said, no, why are you not doing something with your degree? And I said, well, I've got a degree in marketing. And so I said, I want to coach. And she said, well, become a coach.
Yeah.
And so the girl, kind of pushed.
You liked her at that point.
That's right.
That's right.
The girl kind of pushed the old boy to be a little bit more than I was at that time and do a little more. And so I did. I sent out 30 resumes one night at a computer in a condo right off of Lake Hamilton Drive.
Wow.
And I got one call back, and I was in the restaurant actually when this guy called. And when I answered, I said, hello. And, hey, coach, I think you got the wrong number, but I remembered I had sent her resumes.
Yeah.
And he said, this is Coach Zachary from Camden Fairview. I would like you to come interview for a coaching job down here.
Wow.
And so I did, and I got the job. And
Now, what? I interrupt. What sport were you can excelled at? Or I know you did all round stuff, but
so my last 2 years at Lake Hamilton, I played basketball and baseball. Always probably was a little better baseball player, but really loved basketball. It's hard to practice baseball on your own, Tom. I mean, it really is hard to throw, to yourself.
I'll try that. It didn't work out too well.
And so basketball became really easy to practice, and so got an opportunity to play basketball at Arkansas Tech, and I fell in love with it there.
Mhm.
And funny enough, coach got fired my first year there, and so that's how I ended up at Little Rock playing baseball.
Wow.
And so, at that point, at the Camden job, it was a basketball job. That's kind of what I wanted to coach, but I would have taken anything.
Sure.
And
But nobody else knew that, right?
that's right. Nobody else
That's
knew.
the way that works. Yeah.
Yes. And so it ended up being a head junior high basketball job, first job,
Wow.
paired with math, which I wasn't really wanting to do math. I kind of wanted to be
I
a
hate
PE
math.
teacher.
Yeah.
So did I. And so, funny enough, I took the job as a head basketball coach, assistant football coach, and a math teacher. And
We got your number.
that's right.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks later, my athletic director said, I don't think we're going to use you in math anymore. I wonder why. And
Yeah.
I ended up in PE.
Mm.
And so anyway, I spent 4 years at Camden Fairview. Left there to become the head high school coach at DeQueen. And so got my first head high school job over there. Spent 2 years at DeQueen. Parlayed that into, it's funny how God works.
Yeah.
I was practicing one day at DeQueen when our junior high was going to be playing Kirby. And Kirby's coach, Marty Smith, and I are pretty good friends. And Marty happened to come in the gym with his team early and watch the end of our high school practice. And later that year, Prescott's job came open, and Marty Smith was a great connection for me.
And they
Up with that job.
That's
And,
great.
so spent 4 years at Prescott as the head basketball coach for all levels there, 7 through 12.
Now, were you married at this time or not?
Yeah, so go back to DeQueen. Tanya and I had so the girl from the restaurant. Her name is Tanya.
I've seen
You've seen her, and so you know how that
you
story
married up
turned-
with her. That's all I can tell you.
that story turned out. But at DeQueen, we got engaged. My second year there, we got married, and so we had to do the long distance thing for a little while.
Oh,
And by the time I got the Prescott job, and that's one of the reasons I took it, I felt like I could do that commute from Hot Springs.
sure.
And so for 4 years, I did. I drove the hour and 15 minutes from doorstep to doorstep, both ways, and lived here in town. And then the good Lord opened a door here at Cutter Morning Star, and was real close not to taking that job. There was 2 jobs. I won't say what the other one was,
Yeah.
but there was 2 jobs at the time that me and another guy were both going for both. And it was going to be his at this one and mine at this one.
Okay.
God really looked out for me and put
Worked
me
out, yeah.
put me in the right spot.
Now, Tanya did she go to Cutter?
She didn't. Actually, she's from Nashville, Arkansas. Born and raised there, and
Yeah.
she spent her whole life there, and actually had just moved to Hot Springs when I met her at the restaurant. That was her first job up here.
Be darned. Of course, we share a church together that we both go to and are involved in. And the first time I saw Tanya, I recognize her. I could not figure out, did she ever go to Pleasure Park at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, she should have, because I remember her being there. But yeah, very, very pretty girl. You mentioned Nashville. I remember performing with back when I had my show. We took it to Nashville to some outdoor big amphitheater, the kind of thing they had there. And we performed with the Campbell family. That's the first time I met the Campbells, and Steve Campbell and I became very close friends. But it was I like Nashville, Arkansas. It's a pretty town.
There's not much to it, but a couple stoplights. But in Arkansas, we tend to find treasures
Yeah.
in those type of places. We really do. That's right.
That's what I remember is the people there, just friendly as could be and just down to earth people.
That's right.
Well, okay, so where are we at in your story? I kind of got lost there. Tanya's over here for now, and now you're coming back to Cutter, and obviously that took. I mean, you're supposed to talk right there. You liked the job.
Well, so actually, I was close to not taking the job. I really loved my kids at Prescott. I loved the people at Prescott. You mentioned people at Nashville and how people can play such an important role. And I had great administration at Prescott, great people that allowed me to do my job and became friends. And like I said, I really started to love the kids there in the community. And so it was difficult to leave because I really felt like I had my best basketball team coming back. It would have been year 5.
So you had at least one more year with the kids.
Yeah, that's right. And so I kind of wanted to see it. I think the year before we were 17-6. The next year we were 19-5. And I felt like this next year was the year to be really good.
Sure.
And so, and I say that to say when Cutter offered me the job, the money was a little low. And
small school district.
That's right. And so I told him originally, I was like, I don't think I can do it for that. Can you see what you can find? And so
Right.
The athletic director and principal at the time, Matt Carter, who became a really good friend of mine, still is,
Right.
said, how about we offer you the assistant athletic director job? for $1,000.
That's
I
that
said,
sounds like
I'm
not
sold.
very much still.
I said sold. And so that's kind of how I ended up at Cutter. And I say that to say, you know, I'm now the athletic director and have been the last 5 years. I never intended for that.
Mhm.
And it was just something that kind of took place trying to get me the job. And, you know, my wife was kind of looking out of the corner of her eye saying, you better take that job.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
and
Well, let's do this. If you don't mind, let's stay, even if you mind, we're going to take just a short break for commercials for people up there that are watching the athletic director here, Beau. We're good friends now, Beau. You got to understand that. But Beau, we want to like, subscribe, comment on this. We're trying to go kind of what they call viral. We got about
absolutely.
23,000 viewers now. We want that with him on there, folks. We're going to at least get 3 more, right?
Yes, no, absolutely. More, we got to get more than three.
3. Well, I
If we
set
get
my
three, if we get three, I didn't do my
set my
job.
goal low so we can obtain them. That's what you got to do in athletics. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. Hi, this is Tom Wilkins, and we're back to TomCast. Beau Brickell. Beau has a job right now. He's like stable, got the wife thing going on, everything. Beau, tell us about your position now. You're athletic director at Cutter Morning Star, right?
Amongst many things.
So what are
Yes.
the many things? Well, how many hats do you wear?
Uh, well, how many would an octopus wear? 8, I guess. That would start
Okay.
the number. No, I'm the athletic director at Cutter. I'm the head boys basketball coach. I'm a bus driver if needed, part-time maintenance guy, sometime concession worker. Last Thursday, I was announcing junior high football.
Wow.
You know, the list goes on and on.
Sure. Multitasking.
Have to. You have to be a good multitasker. But it's a blessing. I mean, it really is. It's an opportunity every time you do something to glorify God, and I'm just honestly, I'm appreciative that I have the opportunity to
Sure.
do it.
Well, let's talk about the God factor right now. We're going through a lot of different things in our country right now where people are starting to say, "Oh, I'm going to open that Bible that's been sitting there for 20 years." And we'll start. Where do you want to start, honey? Let's start with Genesis. And we're doing a Bible study on that right now, actually, in our church, which you know. But tell me, how did God in your life?
How long do we have on this
We
podcast?
got we got a while.
Um, so I grew up with a grandmother that was married to a Methodist preacher.
Wow.
And so, you know, we talk about it a lot now. A matter of fact, I think it was said yesterday in the sermon that, you know, you grow kids up in church so that when they walk away, that they know where to come back to. And I grew up a Methodist. My grandfather preached, and so I grew up Methodist. I've been in the Methodist church. My grandmother, who's not here any longer, in a much better place,
Mhm.
was a huge woman of faith, and thank God that she was. Um, because there was times where it wasn't that I didn't know God; it was that I wasn't walking with Him.
Sure.
For a while, as a young man. And, you know, I told you the story earlier about Camden Fairview. I could not have asked for a better mentor. I got a godly man. And so when Coach Zachary had called me and I got to know him, we're still friends to this day. The way he ran his program, the way he carried himself, you knew there was something different about him.
Right.
And it was a man of faith. And so, you know, you send out 30 resumes, you get one call back, and you're working at a restaurant. That's a God thing.
Sure
And,
is.
you know, I'll be honest with you. So this is, I said it earlier, but in year 16, I find myself more and more talking to my kids about it. Not that we didn't in the past, but there's times where I feel like I missed the boat. You know, we get caught up sometimes in winning and losing games or things. And at the end of the day, really, I have one job, and that's to build the best relationships with kids that I can. Because I think you said it earlier, trophies collect dust and go away, and relationships
There's no
don't.
They did.
And so we've really that brings me kind of up to speed at Cutter, and the fact that we try our best to build relationships with kids. We talk about God a lot. We talk about things that we're going through. We break every huddle with family. I think it's important for kids to know that adults aren't perfect. And so I share with my kids. And you know what happened to me about a year ago? I was speaking to my players at the end of huddles, thinking I was saying something to them. And it was like God was a reflector off of my players saying, you know, all these things that you're telling them, can you hear them? You're speaking to yourself. You know, you're asking them to do more, to put more time in. If it's
Sure.
really important to them, they'll invest, they'll practice more. And I never could hear it. It was the Holy Spirit
Sure.
saying, how could you ask this of them if you're not asking of yourself? And so, really, in the last year, I've really taken that step to change myself and things that I haven't been the best at, you know, things that I could have changed in my life. And I share that with my kids because I want them to know that that as adults we struggle. We have the
Yeah.
same problems and the same difficulties. And I think kids are receptive to people that are open that way. So God's played a huge part.
Just being
Um,
honest with the kids,
that's right.
being a real person. I know when I was growing up, I was, there wasn't a sport that didn't come easy or didn't come hard to me. I picked it up pretty quick
That's right.
and was very successful in that. And I'm not bragging; I'm just stating fact. And because of that fact, the thing that really affected me, I am still friends. My graduating class was 99 kids. To this day, we still communicate all the time with my friends.
That's
I've
right.
got a group of probably 8, 9, 10 people that I'm so really close to,
Yeah.
but that's back in Wisconsin. We talk, just communicate. And it was about building relationships. We're all kind of connected, aren't we, in
That's
some
right.
way?
That's right.
Some way. Wow. What a deal there.
Well, and so social media now makes that's I don't have a lot of positive to say on social
I
media,
understand.
but there are good things about it. And you know, the ability to connect, and that's what it was originally intended for. You know, when you think about it, the social media world was intended, and it was so cool for people to
Right.
connect with those of the past. And it was a lot of positivity and good things that took place, and it's not necessarily the case anymore.
So
It's
much hatred, so
that's right.
much hatred.
That's right.
I've never seen so much hate. I think it's changing though. At least it appears to be changing. I watched a thing last night, ends of the morning, 90,000 people there at Charlie's memorial. Uh, it just a huge thing. And if that doesn't touch your heart, and yet there's people over here, and way out over here too, just bad mouthing everything. It just you are a shining example of the way it should be. People like yourself, people hopefully like myself. We're not perfect.
No.
Not at all.
No, far from it.
I I uh, I try to watch my mouth, although my mom taught me, if you have an opinion, if it's a positive one, you believe in it, do it.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. And then if somebody proves you wrong, then keep talking about what you believe in. I have started so many projects in my life when I felt like God was involved with it, and somebody over here said, "Oh, that's not going to work. This is why it's not going to work." And I just go, "Well, but I believe in this." And you know what? It follow throughs everything. People can come up with plans. People can come up with different things in athletics. But if you let somebody talk you out of it, just because, for no real reason,
That's right.
be positive. Be positive. And, oh, I love mentoring young people. I think that's been my calling. I've got a crew in here that we talk all the time. We're just friends. Nobody's life's perfect.
No.
You think it is, but go ahead, boy.
Well,
I'm talking too much here.
no, I mean, you're good and you're absolutely right. I mean, we talked to our players about it, you know, one negative attitude in a group of people can bring the entire thing down.
Absolutely.
There's some sort of statistic, based on somebody being positive and how much it outweighs negativity. And so, but that just we were on the faith thing, and you're absolutely right. I told my wife yesterday, watching what we watched, it was really fitting that a long time ago Charlie Kirk chose Turning Point USA
Right.
as the name, because I think we're at a turning point.
We are.
And a lot of people, and I'm not getting into politics, I'm just stating
I don't care if you do or not. I'm very,
well, it's one of those things. We're not eating dinner, so I guess it is okay
yeah,
at this
well,
point.
you can tell me your opinion. I mean, I'm a
No,
conservative.
it's I don't think it's a Republican or Democrat thing. I think it's truly a battle between good and evil.
Oh yeah.
And it was said yesterday many times, and I was in amazement at the amount of people that were using the word God, saying God, talking about how God has impacted their life, or Charlie had an impact on their life. When you're not afraid to do those things,
That's right.
that's really where America is. America wants to rally for hope and peace,
The way it
and
should be.
that's right. And all these things, because those are good things.
Yep.
Hope, peace, freedom. I mean, who doesn't want those, just at its core?
Don't listen to the noise.
That's right. And so, and I think, tying it back in with where we're at, is we have a responsibility to kids to be, we don't know where they're coming from, and sometimes the most difficult kids are the ones that need you to love them the most.
Sure.
And I think my heart was changed a couple of years ago. I had a young man that, he was tough. He was tough to love. Not because he did anything specific. He was very guarded
Yeah.
from environmental
A little
things.
bit of an attitude, probably.
That's right. Little is an understatement, but at the end of the year, I always wondered, am I getting through to him? We would have one-on-ones and talk and send a text message at night just to say, hey, I just want you to know I love you, and
Wow.
yeah, thank you, coach. And he hugged me the last game and just said thank you. And it was the first time, and I think that's where the Holy Spirit started working to say to me, and we had lost in the semifinals, by the way, when this happened. We were one game away from, where everybody wants to be in high school basketball, and that's
Sure.
right down the street here at the Banco ZK Arena.
You're right.
And, he hugged my neck and said, Coach, I love you, and thank you for everything that you've done for me.
Wow.
Right there, I think the Holy Spirit said, you just learned what it's all about.
Yep.
You're chasing championships, and you're chasing trophies, and you're missing the boat. And so it really did. That hug kind of changed my perspective. Now, I still want to win a championship. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But our premise to getting there is about our faith and about our work ethic and about togetherness.
It's more important to get those relationships because they will last a lifetime. My coach just 2-3 weeks ago passed away. He was 90 something years old, but he taught me a long time ago. He said, Tom, he said, you want to be who you want to be because it's hard work. It's really hard work. So if you want to be something, you got to put those skills in there. Nobody's going to be easy on you if you want to be the best of the best. And I was back in those days in my little world. Athletics is a big deal to me. It always has been. Now, after I got away from it, I wasn't playing it anymore. It didn't mean as much to me. I know that's hard to explain, but I'm not the kind of guy, I love Arkansas, I love the Razorbacks and all that kind of stuff, but I love playing it more.
Yeah.
I love the battle, the thing, trying to win. Winning's important. It's always been. That's the goal, is to win, but relationships are more important.
That's right.
So getting back, how did my good friend Mike Hancock come into your life?
Well, so, we were in I think the word for it is pastoral transition, a couple years ago. Matter of fact, I think it's 2 years in November.
Okay.
And so, I told you about my grandmother,
Yep.
and so she kind of was, keeping me up to speed and what was going on, and the fact that we were going to have a new preacher come and um, preach,
Okay.
before obviously the job would be offered to him. And before he got there, they had posted a picture of him up and his family, and I think they said that he loved Virginia basketball.
Yep.
Boom. We got something in common.
Sure.
And so anyway, I'm like, well, it can't be that bad of a guy, right? If he likes basketball. And I didn't love the fact he loved Virginia basketball, but, there's worse teams out there.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
Shannon from church
Good friend of mine.
had been coming. Shannon Tiernan had been coming to some Cutter Morning Star basketball games for the last couple years with a mutual friend of ours. And Pastor Mike had moved down here, but Nikki and Ayanna had not left. He was living at the house by himself. And so I shot him a message and said, hey, you want to go to a high school game? And yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so he brought him to the game, and that's really where our relationship kind of took off. Was we met after the game that night, and man, he really had a heart not only for God, you could tell that right away,
Right.
but he had come from children's ministry. And so, coming from children's ministry and being involved at a basketball game, and just the way that he presented himself and things like that, there was just it was like you said, 10 minutes later, you became friends.
Right.
And so after that, he had come to, matter of fact, that was the year that we had the big run, and he was at every game. And matter of fact, I think I saw him yelling at officials a few times, nothing too crazy. But he got really invested, and so we've kind of been friends ever since. And he's been a good mentor for me. Sometimes age does matter in this thing here, because I found a lot of things that he said and a lot of his life experiences very relatable to where I was. And so I really liked the things that he said and found myself really thinking about the things that he said and things that he had been through. And so that's kind of where our, mutual respect had grown for each other and stands today.
Well, and Pastor Mike, he can relate to these kids really, really well.
Yeah, you
In
can.
fact, I kind of got sick and tired of every time he'd go to your game, he'd come back and there's a few of us that are very close in there, and he'd say, "Oh, that this did that," how animated he can be.
Oh, yeah.
But I go, "Who is this Beau guy?" I didn't know you at the time, and so he just kept talking about you and talking about you. I got get sick of it. What's the deal? And then all of a sudden, I see you come in, and all these young boys are starting to come in. These players that you are mentoring, your team is coming in, and I see Shannon. I always sit with Shannon, and we have the biscuits and gravy at breakfast after our rehearsal from the praise team. And he starts talking about you. I'm getting tired of everybody in there that likes you so much. I'm going, I guess I gotta go ahead and, have you come in and so we can talk a little bit. Because getting near you after church, you got about 10, 12 people around you just grabbing your attention. But that's a good thing.
No, absolutely. Church is about community.
It is.
It's another extension of family, and we try to teach that to our own kids that we have. And when kids are young, sometimes I don't know, I don't want to go to church today.
Sure.
It's an extension of our family, and
Exactly.
that's exactly one of the things that we had an incident happen at the school a year or so ago that really kind of pushed kids toward church.
Okay.
And we wanted to be the landing spot because what's a greater thing than having your team and their families come and worship with you? And so that's what we did when that happened, and people were looking for a church. We just invited them. Sometimes I hear people say, I don't hear the Holy Spirit talking to me like you're talking about. Sometimes it's not an audible voice; it's an opportunity, and I think people miss that sometimes.
Absolutely.
God puts you in a position, an opportunity for you to extend whether it's an invite, something simple, And what kind of difference is that making in somebody's life, where they're at? Just the continuity of being in church on Sunday and hearing the word. And like you said, even something as small as going and eating breakfast and
Mhm.
meeting new people. And so there's no greater joy for me. Like I told you, I want to win games, and we work really hard. We push our kids really hard, and we coach them hard. But there's no greater joy for me than to be in church with them on Sunday. I mean, it really is. It's an awesome experience, because that's really what it's about.
Sure.
And
It
so,
it is, it's that connection with other people, and especially when you're mentoring somebody young, you don't know what their home life's like. There's so many unknowns, but for a period of time, whether it's an hour or 2 or whatever the case may be during your practices, you get to know a little bit more about each other. And let's face it, every coach I've ever had, I've had respect for in some way, shape, or form. Now, it may not have been when I was going through it, but later life, especially when I was playing college football, I hated my coaches. They worked my tail off.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I didn't hate them, but I didn't dislike what they were putting me through. But you know what? That made me a man in retrospect later in life.
yeah.
And I'm going, boy, those guys knew what they were talking about.
Well, I think, and I don't know how much I know you follow sports, but I don't know how
Yeah.
much you watch golf or follow golf. But Scotty Scheffler is
Yep.
absolutely amazing, and we're starting to see men of faith win. And a lot of people are wearing the Jesus won, my team won, and
Yes.
things like
Yes.
that shirts. And he said it so great yeah, I think it's been a couple months now before a big tournament, a major that he won. He said, we all get so excited about winning. And he goes, what's funny is 10 minutes after I win and all the stuff is over
Right.
with, I'm back to normal. And hey, where are we eating tonight? And
That's
he
right.
said, and I don't understand why we get so caught up in the anger and all this in sports.
But you get caught up in it. You
And,
do.
and you do.
It's natural.
And I thought about that. It's what you just said. It's the process of getting there
Hmm.
that is the real joy. The win is the 10 minutes of elation of but it was all the hours prior to. And
Well, it's like me in my world, I'm a project guy. If you got a big project, I'm the guy to put it together, right? Some people, or no, I'd say most people, go, "Hey, I got a great idea. Well, I think you should do this, or I think I should do this, or whatever." And then a year later, the same guy or person says, "Hey, I got an idea." Well, how about that last idea you had? Did you follow through on it? Life is about follow through.
correct.
It's about seeing the goal. And how am I gonna get to that goal? I've got all these obstacles around me that says, "You can't do this because."
That's right.
Well, that's a challenge to me, and that's why I say, "Wait, watch," because that's what my coach taught me.
That's right.
Said, "Wilkins, you see it over there? You gotta run there in, like, 4.3 seconds." I says, "Huh, no problem." "Well, oh, you better try it again. You didn't get the goal yet."
Yeah.
I was I'm telling Tom stories now, but it's TomCast, right?
That's right.
I was in a PE class in high school my senior year. We had track and field. I wasn't a track and field guy. I was a football player, basketball player, whatever. But I wasn't the track and field. So I did the long jump in my tennis shoes. And I did it one time, and the coach says, "Wilkins, come here." They never called you Tom. They called you Wilkins,
Oh
come
yeah.
here.
Everybody's
Come
the
here.
same.
Said, "Could you go do that again?" I said, "Do what?" The long jump." I said, "Well, I guess so." One of those. So I went and did it again. He says, I had beat the school record in the long jump, 21 feet, 4 inches. I'll never forget it.
That's impressive.
That was pretty good.
That's very
Pretty good.
impressive.
And so he said, "We're taking you off the golf team," which I was number 2 on the golf team. And he said, "We're going to, conference meet here is next weekend. I want you to do that again." So I did it. 21 feet 6 inches. I won conference. He said, regionals is coming up. We're going to do this. Went to regionals, approximately the same distance, won it. He said, well, now you're in state. This was like 3 weeks later, roughly. No, my memory's not
Yeah.
exact.
No,
but
I go
3 weeks later,
Yeah.
I bruised my Achilles tendon the last time in regionals, could barely walk. I got like 3rd or 4th place. Can't remember exactly because I just couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't prepared. Life is about preparing for things. Instead, because I was lucky, I had hurt, or unlucky, had hurt myself, and still good presentation. Good presentation. I don't know. It's about setting that goal and trying to obtain it, even when you think you can't do it.
Well, and seeing, something that I took out of what you said was, when coaches tend to see things in people or players that they don't see in themselves.
That's right.
And so, I always think that that's an awesome thing, because they still want positive reinforcement. A lot of people,
Sure.
oh, kids these days no, they're not. They're not any different. They,
No.
they want you to love them. They want you to be honest with them, and they want you to uplift them. And, it's just like you said, your coach recognized something in you. Hey, do this for me. Okay. And then it kind of led into something else.
He was a math guy like you, he was writing all this stuff.
Now, he probably stayed in math longer than I did. I lasted 3 weeks. Maybe that's a record for me.
Not a numbers guy. We both, and it's so funny because there are some parallels here. I grew up in a Methodist church,
Okay.
and when I lived back home, and it's still my home, but life, I all of a sudden turned into a Baptist and a born again Christian, and here I am, But God is so important. God is the foundation of everything. And if you just let him into your life, and this is the message today I want to leave you with, Beau, just you've got God in your life, and it shows through the young people that you are mentoring today and will tomorrow. And these people are going to come back and someday, like that one kid did, just give you a hug, say, thank you, sir. You made a difference in my life. And that is worth it, worth more than all the money you could never
right.
make.
That's right. Well, to me, they're the greatest trophies. Having a kid reach out a year or 2 or 3 or 5. I mean, at this point, it's 16. So
Yeah,
having those relationships with kids that you coached a long time ago, you figure out real quick it really wasn't about the sport.
that's right.
That's something we do in common. It's not who we are.
Beau, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, and I hope you come back again.
I'll be back.
You got more stories.
Listen, I hope I get the invite. I know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. No, I work for food. But anyway, thank you for coming in, and please tell all your kids to get on our website, sweetpeaproductions.com. Go on there. They can like, they can share, they can comment, they can subscribe to it, whatever. There's no money involved there. But we need to get 50,000 people. That is my goal, because then
Make it happen.
then you can make $10 doing this.
Well, instead of 1 thumb, let's give 2 thumbs. If
How
everybody
about
gives
4
2,
thumbs?
yeah, that'll work.
4 thumbs up.
Head toward 50,000, 50K, 50K, and we're going viral.
50K is what we're going for. So get everybody to watch this video here. SweetPeaProductions.com. This is TomCast. Thank you, Beau. Thank you for being here. And we're going to have him back again someday soon. We look forward to the next one. Thank you.